Nining mong video atong paminawon tan-awon ang title nga Kinsay Maayo or unsay kalainan sa mga Franciscans, Dominicans ug Jesuits. Ang musulti karon usa ka Franciscan. Tan-awon.
This week on Ask Brother Casey, our question comes from Eric Wenglikowski, who wants to know, what's the difference between the Franciscans, the Dominicans, and the Jesuits? Well, Eric, I'm glad you came to such an unbiased source, and I'd be happy to tell you why we're the best. I mean, the differences between the orders. Well, there are many different types of religious orders in the church, and it may be difficult to distinguish between them. It's important to remember that we have a lot more in common than we do different. We're all called to live the gospel in some expression of that. So we all pray, we all engage in ministry, and unlike our diocesan brothers, we're called to live in fraternity in one way or another. So what is it that differentiates us? Well, it's a thing called a charism. And charism is basically just a personality of the order. Defines the way we live and the way we work. So, for the Dominicans, the order of preachers, they're called to preach and to teach, very concerned with doctrine and the correct faith. For the Jesuits, very concerned with the greater glory of God and God's church, they're called to mission and to higher education. Like the other religious orders, we as Franciscans are called to live a life of prayer in fraternity for the sake of ministry. But we do so in a specific way. For me, our prayer is defined as a contemplative inaction. We're not called to live here in a cloister. We're called to go out into the world. And the reason for that is that we have an incarnational theology. We believe that God is present in all, not just the extraordinary, but the ordinary. And that's why Francis loved creation so much. That's why he loved the poor so much. Because God is in the most mundane things, the most ordinary things, revealing himself to us. Our fraternity is defined by minority. As the order of friars minor, as we're called to be lesser brothers, to live a life of humility. That's why not one of us has the ultimate authority over our brothers. We're all in this together. We live with compassion for one another. And so that way, we're called to serve, not to be served. We're called to be brothers, not lord over our brothers. And finally, our ministry. Our ministry is a difficult one to define because Francis never gave us a directive of what we're supposed to do. In fact, he did many things in his life. But I would say it had a lot to do with being on mission and going to the periphery. We as Franciscans were actually the first religious order to write missionary actions into our rule. And so we went to all corners of the earth. Francis was very big on evangelization, to preach the gospel at all times, as you've heard. But he was also very conscious of going to the places that people didn't go, so that everyone would know the love of God. So now that you understand a little bit better the differences between the religious orders, I have a joke for you. So there's a Franciscan, a Dominican, and a Jesuit trapped on a desert island. And all they come across a genie's lamp. So they rub it and the genie pops out. The genie says, well, because there's three of you, I'll each give you one wish only. The Jesuit says, thank God, get me off this island. I need to be back at the university teaching. That's where I'm meant to be. Poof, he was gone. The Dominican said, yeah, get me off this island. I can't stand being here. I have to be back in the pulpit preaching God's word. That's where I'm meant to be. Poof, he was gone. And the Franciscan sat for a little while. He was a little distraught. I said, well, I kind of miss those guys. Can you bring them back?
Ay. Oy, kinsa may Mayo. Franciscans, Jesuits, Dominicans. Parihara tanan. Depende kinsa musulti. Pero matod niya, Franciscan may Mayo. Para nako, same.